महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी। In the last class, as all of you may remember, we saw a verse which made many of us raise our eyebrows. Shri Krishna said, "What can self-control do? Nigraha kim karishyati." That was the 33rd verse of this chapter 3 of Bhagavad Geetā. And in a hasty reading, that sentence, Nigraha kim karishyati, what can self-control do? Or it need not mean self-control only, control by teachers, by elders, by others, and so on. In other words, does a man change at all? Does he change by his self-effort? It seems he doesn't. Does he change because of some pressure and force exerted by others? It seems his swabhava is too strong. Do you and I change at all? We only do some window dressing. We only have cosmetic changes. Deep inside, it seems we remain the same. This nature is so strong. Sri Krishna uses the word in the 33rd verse, Prakriti, for Swabhava, for one's nature. Prakritehe sadrisham jnanavanapi cheshtate. Even someone who is well read pretty much behaves by one's own nature. People close to him or her know it. They say, these days she is talking a lot of Vedanta, but she has not changed even a wee bit. She remains as possessive or short-tempered or jealous or money-minded or lazy or there are so many things. Everybody has some strengths and some shortcomings. And with so-called spiritual knowledge, nanavanapi swasyaha prakritehe sadrisham eva cheshtate. Prakritim yanti bhutani. All living beings anywhere in the world behave as per their nature. Nigraha kim karishyati. But as I had cautioned you before taking up this verse, we should not think that the teaching is over. Raising that question, Sri Krishna right away says in the very next shloka that it is wrong to believe that we cannot change. Actually, there is something called Purushartha, something in our hands. As they say, 2 cents are in our hands. 98 cents may be fate, destiny, or our past sanskaras, society, surroundings, or God's will, whatever. But 2 cents are in our hands. And all this optimistic philosophy says to us, if we do our 2 cents, then a lot of difference it will make to rest of everything. Therefore, Sri Shankaracharya connects us to the next verse where Sri Krishna indeed talks about what is in our hands and doing which we can change the course of our life. Shankara says, Yadi sarvo jantuhu atmanaha sadrishameva cheshtate nacha prakriti shunyaha kaschidat asti There is nobody who doesn't have a certain nature. Everybody has their nature, their bundle of habits. Prakriti shunyaha kopi na asti. Sarvasyapi prakritihi swabhavaha asti eva. You have your nature, I have my nature, she has her nature, he has his nature. If somebody is money-minded, somebody else is pleasure-oriented, somebody else is utterly laid back, somebody else has all kinds of emotional disturbances. And we say, these people have such prakriti. And sarvo jantuhu atmanaha sadrishameva cheshtate. Then tataha purushakarasya vishaya anupapattehe shastra anarthakyam praptam. Shastra anarthakya praptau. In that case, what is shastra anarthakya? This is a very significant word. Anartha means useless. Somewhere else, anartha can mean harm. Someone is harmed by something. Artham anartham bhavaya nityam. Wealth can only bring harm to you. Don't pursue wealth, says one of the shlokas in Bhaja Govindam. Somewhere artha can be evil, harm. But here anartha, artha is usefulness. Anartha is uselessness. Anartha, anarthaka, and then anarthakasya bhavaha, anarthakyam. Shastra anarthakyam prapyeta, tat praptau. In the case of scriptures becoming useless, why should scriptures be useless? Purushakarasya anupapattehe. Purushakara is a synonym of purushartha, something that we can do. What is our purushartha? When we ask, it means what is it that is in our hands, by doing which we can get better, by not doing which we can go down and further down. Purushakarasya anupapattehe shastra anarthakya praptau idam uchyate. So, Sri Krishna says in 34, Indriyasyendriyasyarthe ragadveshau vyavastitau tayorna vashamagachet tau hi asya paripanthinau. Here both vyavastitau and paripanthinau is what we call prathama vibhakti dvivachana. Ragadveshau vyavastitau staha or bhavataha. There are well-established, well-formed, well-anchored, what we call likes and dislikes. Ragadveshau vyavastitau. So, raga is like, dvesha is dislike. So, all the indriyas, eyes, ears, nose, tongue and skin, and the karmendriyas, vak, pani, pada, payu, basta, speech, hands, legs, and so on, all of them have strong likes, things that they like to do, things that they like to experience, things that they like to enjoy, and so on. Towards them, they have like. And things they dislike are those that they want to keep away from. This is a truth. But Acharya Sri Krishna now says, Geetā Acharya, tayoho vasham na agachet. So, just a moment. Our Purushartha. When there is a desire arising in us, we have, at least in a number of situations, if not in 10 out of 10 situations, in 9 out of 10 situations, we do perceive a choice, or shall I not? Keep away from it. Look at the karmendriya, walk. You feel like saying something, and it's up to you to really say it or hold back. Sometimes something comes to the tip of your tongue, but if Viveka operates by that time and you see it won't be appropriate, or it is appropriate, but I have spoken enough, I should give chance to others. I see that this lady or that man also wants to say something, then we hold back. That is Vasham na agachet tauhi asya paripanthinau. Paripanthi is someone or something that obstructs, that causes an obstacle. So this is moral advice. Please do not imagine Bhagavad Gita is all about some high metaphysics, high transcendental knowledge. Gita at places comes down to our level and very explicitly says, do this, don't do that. Go by what Shastra advises you to do and don't go by what your old habits ask you to do. Now, Adi Shankara explains this simple moral advice in a few words. Indriyasya arthe. On one hand, there is Indriya, and on the other, there is Indriyasya artha. Artha is Vishaya. For eyes, colors and forms are the Vishaya. For ears, sound, the words that others say, or some music, etc., are the Vishaya. So, Indriyanam Vishayeshu Ragadveshau Vyavastitau. Bhashyakara says, Shabdadi Vishaye Ishte Ragaha Anishte Dveshaha. Ishte Ragaha, attachment to those that we like, and aversion to those that we don't like. This applies to people also. We like some people, we dislike some people. We want to, in a get-together, meet, stand with, or be around some people, and we almost ignore, neglect other people. This is the story in organizations, in families, in any collective scenario. So, people or objects belong to what you like, what you do not like. Anishte dveshaha iti evam prati indriyartham ragadveshau avashyam bhavinau. All dual number. Bhavi 1, bhavinau 2, bhavinaha 3. Ramaha, Ramau, Ramaha. Avashyam bhavinau. They definitely are part of our life. Nobody can say, oh, I don't have any likes and dislikes. Actually, those who are very wise, very balanced, and very self-controlled, they also have likes and dislikes, but they follow the second part of the shloka. Tayoho na vasham agachet. They don't fall a prey. They don't allow their likes and dislikes to hijack them. So, avashyam bhavinam, how practical, how insightful it is. These are part of life. So if you see some wealth and get a desire, I must have that wealth, that's okay. But don't allow yourself to be driven crazy by the desire for wealth. Check whether it is within your reach, whether there is a dharmic way to possess that wealth, whether it really is necessary, whether by spending time and energy on going after that wealth, your life is going to be jeopardized, some other higher priorities will be imperiled. You need to see. Purushakarasya shastrarthasya cha vishayaha uchyate. In this context, tatrayam, in this scenario, the Shastra tells us Purushakara, what lies in our hands. And that is typically the advice of Shastra. Shastrarthasya Purushakarasya Vishaya Uchyate. Why do you bring scriptures here? Just tell us what we must do. Why do you say the Shastras guide you? Acharya Shankara is a custodian of the Shastras. Shastrarthe pravrittaha purvameva ragadveshayoho vasham na agachet. Once somebody is in regular touch with the holy scriptures and follows their advice, then one would not one would not be swayed by the likes and dislikes. Acharya Shankara elaborates with great patience. Yahi purushasya prakritihi sa ragadvesha purassara eva. All our likes and dislikes, they constitute our prakriti. Therefore, our prakriti is the expression of raga and dvesha. Raga dvesha purassara. Puras means ahead. Sarati is go. So whenever we meet with objects, we meet with people, the likes and dislikes come to the front seat, and then they drive our behavior. Our behavior follows the kind of likes and dislikes that emerge in our bosom. Swakarye purusham pravartayati. Then what we say, what we do, what we avoid saying, they are all controlled. Like sometimes we say about a politician, he is a good man, but he has a few advisors. They make him say things, do things, and so on. In many families, they say sometimes in whisper, our daughter is a very good lady, but she fears her husband. And out of her fear of her husband, what husband would think, she says this or that to us. Or the other way around sometimes. So our son is a good boy, but under pressure from his wife, he sometimes is disrespectful to us or does not care enough for us, etc. So leave alone wives or daughter or people in organizations. Look at the Adhyatma context, inside us. Adhyatma means inside us. Inside us, we actually want to do good things, but our likes and dislikes actually just spoil all our plans. And Purusham pravartayati. Ragadvesha, you want to get up early, but your attachment to the comfortable bed. And some other time, you want to avoid some unhealthy food, but the tongue has such strong likes, says that it's a long time since I got this delicious food, which is how they make it in my hometown or some such thing. And then somebody reminds him or her, what long time. I was with you 3 days back at another place also, you want this to eat. Then this person says, but 3 days is a long time. So 3 days back I had this. Now I must grab it. So some rationalization it is called. So pravartayati. Tada swadharma parityagaha paradharma anushtanam cha bhavati. That is when, because of the mischief played by these likes and dislikes, we let go of our swadharma, what we should be doing, and embrace very tightly paradharma. Swadharma tyagaha, which is undesirable, paradharma anushtanam, which is again undesirable. In simple language, we stop doing what we should be doing and we start doing what we should not be doing. Alas. Yada punaha ragadvesha tat pratipakshena yamayati. If with a little viveka, discrimination, niyamayati, if we control our likes and dislikes, tame them, we stop them from hijacking us. How? Pratipakshena, by seeing the other side of the story. As a diabetic, he is face to face with delicious Indian sweets in a marriage party. His likes, his attachments, say, go for them. Make an exception today. But Pratipaksha is, while Paksha, the first side is, they are so delicious. If I put them in my mouth, I will be so happy. That is one Paksha. Pratipaksha is, you eat them, tomorrow morning itself, you will see the results. You will feel weak, you will have giddiness. And in the long term, your kidneys and your heart and your lungs and practically all organs will be affected. That is the Pratipaksha. Pratipakshena, Pratipaksha bhavanaya niyamayati tada shastra drishtireva purusho bhavati na prakriti vashaha. Till now, he was prakriti vasha, an obedient servant of likes and dislikes, which constitute the nature. But now he becomes Shastra Drishti. Shastra Drishti is an adjective to that Purusha, Bahuvrihi Samasa. Shastrasya Drishti Yasya Saha. So somebody having the vision of the scriptures rather than the vision supplied by one's likes and dislikes. Tasmatayoho ragadveshayoho vasham na agachet yataha. Coming back to the shloka, Sri Krishna's words, Tauhi asya paripanthinau, Bhashyakara says, paripanthinau, dual number, means Shreyo margasya vigna kartarau. They cause vigna, obstacles. And Adi Shankara helps us with a simple illustration, an analogy. Taskarau iva pati. You are going by a path, maybe through a forest, and some dacoits, some thieves, some robbers suddenly confront you. And don't they take away the valuables that you possess? Like that, these ragadveshas are great troublemakers. We must be extremely cautious. Continuing, tatra ragadvesha prayukta manyate. Some misguided people who have some crooked thinking, they say, Shastrartham api anyata manyate. They misunderstand even scriptural teachings. They say, what is wrong in paradharma? Paradharma also, you see, look at the word. Paradharma also is a dharma. So, whether it's this dharma or that dharma, I will be walking the path of dharma. Paradharma api anushtayaha. It is also to be done. It's also to be practiced. This false logic they give. That is why Adi Shankara says, Tat Asat. To whitewash and make some paradharma look acceptable, look better, is not valid. That is when you have come under moha, you have come under maya. Therefore, 35, Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha Paradharmat Swanushthitat Swadharme Nidhanam Shreyaha Paradharmo Bhayavaha. Lord Krishna is not mincing words when he says, at any cost, your being in the domain where you belong is better. Swadharmaha Shreyaha, or Swadharma being masculine, Shreyan. Karma being neuter, elsewhere we have in Gita, Karma Jayaha hi Akarmanaha. But Swadharma grammatically is Pullinga. Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha. Vigunaha here means devoid of some outward charm. Guna here is not intrinsic guna. Swadharma always has intrinsic guna, but outwardly it could be viguna, not favorable. And api is implied. Vigunaha api, even if it lacks certain outer charm, go for Swadharma. That is to be taken up. So Vigunaha api Swadharmaha Shreyam. What are those factors that constitute external charm? Like there is a job which has more pay, but in your heart of hearts, you know that you are not made for that. You do not love that work so much. You actually love another activity, another job, another profession. But for money's sake, you call your Swadharma Viguna, unfavorable, because there is less money. And what has more money, you say, is Suguna, having all the good qualities. Sri Krishna says, don't go for this external charm, whether it's objects, jobs, people. Don't go for external looks. Don't go for just their personality. Don't go for their language. Don't go for their family background. These are all external. Someone from a well-known family could be a problem down the road. Somebody else from hardly known family could be helpful, could be good in general. So, Paradharma has its glitter and glamour, but Swadharma is truly for one's upward progress. So, putting the words in a little strong way, Sri Krishna goes to the extent Swadharme Nidhanam Shreya. It's better to die while doing your own duty, your own work. Swadharma doesn't have to be excessively connected to profession. Profession, after all, is one area of engagement in our life. Swadharma is the role we play at home, the role we play in the society, the role we play in numerous relationships. So, in matters of where we may say yes, where we may say no, Swadharma comes in a big way. If we are wise, we don't settle for some fleeting pleasures. You are a speaker on history, but in some conference they call you and say, you are such a very intelligent person, we badly needed a speaker on economics. You say, I don't know economics. You have 1 week time. Read something, prepare something, come and speak. You say, no, please, my field is history. I won't come to give a talk on economics. Then the organizers say, we give you business class tickets from Mumbai to Delhi. We give you 5-star hotel stay. And for the participation, we will also be giving you a handsome, a wonderful, good purse. Then you say, Yeah. Meanwhile, you have already promised a bunch of students, couple of lectures on history, your subject, which you love also. But then you say, these students, they will always be there. Whereas that kind of conference, 5-star hotel stay, business class to and fro air tickets, and a purse that I can receive at the, this is called external charm, glitter and glamour. It is some quick bucks, but spiritually you go down. Your beautiful relationship with your students, and above all, a sense of having walked the right path, will be lost. Paradharma, even if you do well, you may read up in a week and go and deliver a lecture on economics, which is not your subject, nor do you have much taste for it. But quickly, today you have no need for books also. On the internet, you pick some names, mention some impressive books and find out what was recently discovered. Why did the latest Nobel Prize in economics go to somebody? What did he find out? You read about, Amartya Sen or somebody else, and you learn some definitions. What is micro banking? What is some kind of, how countries will come up if education is given more importance, and something like that. Economics for underprivileged, some fancy words, and you deliver it in a dignified way. If anybody asks a question, you say, I'm sorry, I have to catch the flight and rush now. Please send those questions to me by email. You do some cover up and go. Collect the purse and return to Mumbai. After that so-called successful trip to Delhi. What success? Swanushtita, su-anushtita. Even though you did well, look into your bosom, look into your heart. You will realize you were not on the right track. Swadharme nidharam shreyaha. Even though you lose the money, you lose the glitter and glamour, you miss out. If you spend time with your history students, teach them something which is challenging, the satisfaction is deeper. Paradharmo bhayavaha. Once or twice you and I slip, it's okay. But again and again, our life is dictated, let us say. Life is dictated by outer things like money and, being in the limelight. Our picture comes in newspapers. We are covered in the major TV channel and so on. And you go to Delhi, there are so many, In Hindi, there is a word, faltu things. They are really not important, unimportant. Faltu things. The organizers, if I may add another, say, and what is more, you have to be with us for 2 days. And first day evening, there is a banquet. And the finance minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, will be joining us at dinner. And if you come from Mumbai, we will ensure you will be sitting next to her, and a photograph will be in the newspapers next day, sitting next to FM. And your college will give you a promotion. They may make you even the principal with all this. So one after another, the world is never in shortage of sending towards us more temptations, more. But Sri Krishna says, Paradharmo bhayavaha. The soul in you dies again and again. Acharya Shankara also is very strong on this. Shreyan prashasyataraha, more praiseworthy. Svodharmaha, be yourself. A bird flies in the air. Let the bird not try to swim in water. A fish swims in water, and a fish should not try to fly in air. A crow should not join some singing competition. Crow cannot sing. A cuckoo, on the contrary, by its nature, by God-given nature, a cuckoo, koel, is able to sing. Though they look alike. Many of you may have heard a simple subhashita. Kaka Krishna pika Krishna ko bheda pika kakayo samprapte vasanta kale tu kaka kakaha pika pikaha. So when spring arrives, vasanta kale samprapte, then you know both a crow and a cuckoo might look alike, but when it is springtime, cuckoo sings daily. And a crow also makes some sound, ka, 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 and that is not sweet. So this is a practical advice. All of us should excel and should exert in areas where number one, we are good, number two, we have a natural inclination. Whether we are recognized or not, we love the work itself. The work, of course, has to be not opposed to dharma. Don't say, I have found that my swadharma is pickpocketing. Or don't say, don't be embarrassed, but I love to tell lies. I feel so excited. Rama Rama. There's something wrong with your self-assessment. And if you love to tell lies and so on, that is some wrongly acquired habit. It's not your swadharma. It's a vice. It is a bad habit. Drop it. Find out what is that which is dharmic, where you are good too. So, Acharya Shankara says, Swadharmaha, Swadharmaha, Viguna api, Vigata gunaha api, Anuštiyamanaha. If it is done, Swadharma rewards us. And Paradharmat Swanushtitat api, Sadgunyena Sampaditat api. Sometimes we have multiple skills, and therefore it's a bit difficult for us to figure out where we belong. But it's not impossible. So we may do quite well. Somebody who is meant for financial field might do a good job, let us say, in agriculture. Because broadly he is intelligent, so he does a good job of agriculture. But upon closer examination, he figures out that the contribution he can make to the society, to the country, to himself are much more in the field of handling finance. So he says goodbye to agriculture and goes for finance. M.K. Gandhi, if he had just continued as a lawyer, might have done well, though one or two occasions he felt nervous, he fainted, he fell down, he could not utter a single word. That's all. After all, everybody has to make a beginning. Maybe he would have been a pretty good lawyer in India or maybe even in England, who knows. But then he followed his inner voice, he followed the teachings of the Gita, and his calling, his bliss was in serving people, serving the noble values like Satya and Ahimsa. So he found his Swadharma. Everybody doesn't have to leave, doesn't have to quit the profession of law. Some are made for being lawyers till their last breath. That is their Swadharma. Therefore, one has to carefully see what one's Swadharma is. Even in these ashramas, not all are meant for becoming sannyasis. Not all are meant for being grahasthas. Not all are meant to take up vanaprastha. Somebody may be 75, 80. Just because he is 75-year-old, we don't say he must now go for vanaprastha. If it were so, our shastras would have given figures. First 25 years be a brahmachari, next 25 years be grahastha. From the age of 51 to 75, be a vanaprasthi. And after the age of 76, if you are alive, take sannyasa. They would have said. But the Shastras have not imposed those gross outer criteria. If there is enhanced viveka and vairagya, if there is relatively much less of longing for pleasure and possession, one may take sannyasa even at the age of 18 or 20. So, there also Swadharma comes. All the missions in the world, Catholic missions or Hindu missions, Ramakrishna or Chinmaya, Vatican or some Protestant church in England, lots of so-called religious organizations, Islamic bodies, in their enthusiasm to have large numbers, to expand their organization, and being unable to see certain nuances, thinking that they are doing service of God, they make a lot of young people, mullahs or priests or swamis or, Mahamandaleshwar, this and that. Many times it is a mass movement. Well, some do well, some others are into paradharma. Neither the person who becomes the mullah or father and then bishop, cardinal, etc. Neither the person who embraces that so-called life of renunciation and service of God, etc. Neither she or he realizes what's happening, nor does the organization realize what's happening. If the person succeeds, quote and unquote, whatever that success may mean, the mission will praise him. Oh, he is our best father, best bishop in our association. If he fails, they blame him. We made him a bishop and see how he has behaved. They blame, they throw bricks at him. They don't realize there was a time when he did not want to take the vows, and it is your organization which put pressure on him or her, right? That they forget. But if he succeeds, they praise. If he fails, they curse. If he succeeds, they garland him. If he fails, they throw brickbats at him. This is a mad, mad world in all fields. If a cricketer succeeds, he gets a rousing welcome at Delhi airport when he comes back from some match he played in Dubai or somewhere. If he scores 0 in both the innings, he comes to the airport. There itself something can happen, but definitely on his way from airport to his house, don't be surprised if people throw rotten eggs at him. This is a mad, mad, crazy world. Therefore, all the more, we must follow Shastra. What does Shastra say? Shastra does not give importance to externalities. Inside you, is there enough love of God? Is there enough vairagya? And accordingly, one must decide. So, I don't mean to criticize society or organization only. The society or organization and the individual are together involved in taking a wrong direction, whether it is religious vows or going for some profession, sports and movies and law and so on. It's a confused world. We live in a confused world, and if you want to get out of confusion, proper study of Shastra is important. Proper study under the guidance of a competent teacher, not teachers who themselves are overexcited. If you go to some so-called spiritual teacher who is overexcited, who is looking for more disciples, you go and say, Swami, should we take sannyasa? Come tomorrow, I am giving to 10 others. I will give sannyasa to you also this. Avoid such teachers who, without even knowing you, are eager to give you orange robes. So is the case with sports or music or this or that. People who want membership, they don't examine whether it is your swadharma. And down the road, you suffer, they also suffer in their own way. Eventually, nobody is spared. Satyameva jayate. So, Sri Shankaracharya says, Paradharma svanushtita sadgunyena sampaditadapi swadharme stitasya nidhanam maranam api shreyaha. Maybe you did not become popular. Maybe you did not make much money. Maybe you were not much recognized. Maybe you were a little bit criticized also for some of your brave, bold decisions. Never mind. Maybe you die having taken the right path. Maranam. But Sri Krishna says, Maranam api shreya. So Bhagavad Gita opens your eyes to a lot of realities of life. It's not just the Brahman, the absolute reality, but psychological realities, social realities, realities of institutions. What happens in the institution of marriage? What happens in the institution of heading organizations? All of them are institutions, social service. So a competent teacher who has pondered a lot, who has done enough anushtana, who has above all gone by her own or his own honest impulses, will share with you, will teach you truth. Others, it's a crazy world. Shankara, therefore, paradharma sthitasya jivita. Somebody is on the wrong track and is living beyond 100 years. Shankara says, shame on him. Of what use is his 100 years, 110 years? He has not been on the right track. He is confused and is confusing others also. Whereas somebody died at the age of 43 or 52, but swadharma. All those 52 years, all those 43 years, which is relatively a shorter life, she or he lived more conscientiously, going by conscience. A more conscientious life is worth living, not some kind of impulsive way of living, where you may become popular, you may hit the jackpot, but down the road, others also suffer, you also suffer. So this calls for a great re-examination of all our priorities. Re-examine your priorities. Lastly, paradharmaha bhayavaha. Words from the Gita. And Adi Shankara says, narakadi lakshanam bhayam avahati. It carries with it, it invites, it entails, it will definitely involve narakadi lakshanam bhayam. A whole lot of suffering later. Hell, after this life, one may go to hell for doing sinful things. The distinction of Bhagavad Gita is, it's not frightening us simply by a list of do's and don'ts. It gives to us an intimate understanding of why it is so. It's a science. Therefore, Swami Chinmayanandaji called Vedanta the science of living. Just as physics or regular science doesn't just say don't touch that electric wire, live wire, which is hanging. If you ask, why should I not touch? The physicist, the electrician, the electrical science man or lady will sit down and explain what this electricity is all about, what will happen, why it will happen. It's nothing to do with being obedient to the electrician or the scientist. The person doesn't matter. There is a truth about that live wire being dangerous. You may die. You may get electrocuted. So there's a whole science behind it. Likewise, just for some glitter and glamour, for fame and name, just for to listen to somebody, he said, therefore I did. Just because he or she said, don't do something hastily. Avahati means it is here in this context very similar to ahvayati. Ahvana is inviting literally. Avahana is carry with it, vahati. But in this context, even some good translators have given the meaning to bring, to cause, to lead to. So, paradharmaha bhayavaha. Therefore, wherever we are in the west or east, whatever our age may be, whatever so far we did could be, maybe in our ignorance we committed certain sinful things. Doesn't matter. Today we may begin a new life. And not just by deciding, but by, I always say, going for an integrated approach. Don't say, tomorrow, even if my friends ask me to drink some alcohol, which I did all the time, tomorrow I will refuse. When you go and they say, have a little, you may not be able to say no. If you really want to change your life, begin the day well. Get up early, do yogasana, do prayer, study a little. Then you will have a different mental atmosphere. Then when somebody tempts you, you will not fall for the temptation. From morning 6 to 12 noon, if you have lived in a haphazard manner, and 12:30 somebody brings some temptation to you, you are already disturbed and agitated and perturbed, you will look for or you will go for that temptation because it will be an escape from your sorrow. It will be an escape from your loneliness. It will be an escape from mental agitations. A little I will drink now. From tomorrow I won't drink. That comes. Whereas you have been careful. Instead of 6 a.m., you got up at 5:45. Therefore, managed to do a bit of pranayama and a few things, cleared some pending work. Then you feel like a king, you feel like top of the world. Then not 1 or 2, 10 friends ask you to take a little alcohol. You will be able to face them all. Guys, always you made me do whatever you wanted. Today all 10 of you listen to me. Put that cup down. Put that glass down. And so on. They will be surprised. Who is speaking? They will say. So we have to work towards getting the inner strength to live Swadharma and let go of Paradharma through an integrated approach. 24 hours, we should be balanced. We should not overdo anything. We should not deny to ourselves sleep or food and so on. All of us experience. Sometimes we live a day very rightly. If we have slept enough, if we have eaten good food, if we have enjoyed something very healthy and dharmic, then there is some cheerfulness. Then we spend the day also with a lot of self-control. Self-control, in other words, can be facilitated by good sleep and good food. Generally, we think good food, no, I am spiritual. Being spiritual doesn't mean you eat some rotten, stale food. You must eat healthy, delicious food and sleep. Suppose at a point of time you think that you need minimum 6 hours, you turn off your mobile, everything, give yourself solid 6 hours of sleep, undisturbed, in a nice setting. If there are mosquitoes, put a mosquito net, like that. Ensure that you get good sleep, eat good food, enjoy a little music too. That may help you get inner strength. So that's what I call an integrated approach. There are several factors which empower you to live a dharmic life. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.